Hello YouTube, in this video I wanted to talk about why the Greek gods are archons and handlers of the matrix. And I also wanted to mention some of the things that they did to me. I've mentioned this in my other videos, but I just wanted to put a shorter video out there which explains why why I know they are archons. The main reason I believe them to be archons and I know them to be archons is because of how hard they tried to restrict me and how malicious they were. This is because when they first came, they immediately decided to speak amongst themselves and try to make it so I couldn't hear what they were saying. They also tried to stop me from being able to see them and restrict my ability to see them. They would fade in and out of my vision and remain as shadow beings and wouldn't allow me to see them vividly unless they were strangling me at night time. In terms of other restrictions, when they first came, they started pouring this thick cloud down the crown of my head. So they knew the crown of my head was open. And I think this was them trying to preempt me for possession, but I don't know for sure. Or it may have been a way of trying to put the cap back onto my head as well. More of the other restrictions that they did showed that they were trying to suppress me and trying to restrict me and stop me from escaping the matrix and breaking free from the shackles that the previous handlers in other incarnations put on me. For example, when my heart burst, it led to me being able to exert energy out of my heart, like my heart chakra itself was expanding. But eventually, they would stab me in my heart to restrict and reduce the amount of energy I could output out of it, and which led to them eventually taking my heart astrally out of my chest. Another thing that they did was they started to break down the areas in the back of my head. This is because from the pressure they were putting on me previously, it led to the back of my head bursting, which led to a lot of pleasure and nirvana. And it allowed me to have increased articulation and coherence. For some reason, I could explain concepts I could never do before, but they saw this as a problem and ended up taking that away from me, that ability, as they began to work on the back of my head and restrict whatever I had done in those areas and blocked it up again. They eventually put the cap back on my head. The cap that was covering the crown of my head, which was previously there before I lost my emotions and it burst previously. Which shows that they were trying to contain me and stop me from continuing to rise in frequency and be open to being contacted or influenced by other beings. Putting this cap on my head also stopped me from getting energetic and hysteric backlashes, which were results of me having negative thoughts and me having almost a energetic backlash for thinking a particular thought. So this essentially stopped me from being able to generate the energy, which led to a lot of the machinery breaking off me in the first place. When my heart first burst, machinery that was covering my eyes was removed, but they have since now reinstalled and put machinery back into my eyes, which seems to be more advanced than the last machinery they put into my eyes. They also put these type of headphones over my ears to further restrict me and to stop me from potentially hearing frequencies and to keep me quarantined. They also restricted my thought parameters, which made it so I wouldn't have as many thoughts as I did before. And they also restricted and suppressed my ability to have thoughts, which slowed down my ability to think. They also had sex with me, which drained me of my rebellious spirit and life force, which made me less able to want to fight and rebel, and which also drained me of my abilities, like not psychic abilities, but abilities that would make me feel like I was other people, and a lot of other various mental abilities. They also took away my ability to clear energy and to output aura out of my hands. When I was rising in frequency, sometimes objects would leave my mouth, which I could feel astrally leaving my mouth. And in response to this, the Greek gods put this thing in my mouth, which pierced both my cheeks and stopped objects from leaving my mouth astrally. And they eventually put a whole mask over my mouth completely. I could see this and feel this happening. They also attached this machinery to my spine and attached machinery to the back of my head. They eventually attached a plug straight into the base of my brain, which I could feel, and I still feel all the time. She has also put me into a pod and covered me and pushed me into a hole. I mean, pushed that pod into a hole. She also put a lot of astral pills into my mouth and forced me to swallow them. And she has put these things into my arms and to my hands, which I find make my hands weak. And has also put these things in the palms of my hands, which she suppresses my ability to feel them. I think this is one of the things that keeps her in my body. Keeps them in my body attached to me. She also tied a chain from my astral body to the ground, which stops me from being able to astral project or possibly even fly. She also weighs my body down, so sometimes I'll wake up feeling heavy and feel like there's been a lot of gravity pushed onto the base of my feet, which I know for a fact that they are applying that weight to me. Also, to stop me from manifesting objects astrally and other things, she destroyed, or at least it felt like she destroyed everything in my mind, at least the structures in my mind and everything that I had built over time. And this felt like she just destroyed my whole brain, which stopped me from having those manifestations in my astrally and in my mind. Like, for example, I'd manifest objects like weapons that can be used astrally and other things. I could also feel her breaking down my testicles and the energy around my testicles, which I think was because they also rose in frequency as well. So she was just trying to restrict the areas that I raised. Also, when she was trying to take over me, she put this weight in my stomach. Like, she preemptively knew that it would lead to later energies building up in my stomach. So she put that in my stomach to slow the process down. And when eventually these blocks of fire built up in my stomach and I could feel my kundalini almost rising in my stomach, she broke down those blocks and got rid of the fire energy which was building up. She also put this restriction on my third eye. She sealed my third eye away. She put this machinery into the center of my forehead, and I could feel my third eye being restricted, and I could also see in my mind's eye that it was being restricted and locked behind, almost safe, with all these incantations and markings and on it. She also put this lock on my feet, like this energetic clamp on both of my feet, which locks me into a rhythm. I can't explain it. It's like they put you in this restricted state where you're forced to move at a particular pace and rhythm, and it locks you to this world almost. I don't know how to explain it. Also, there was a moment when my astral body increased in size to around 40 feet tall in size. And after she had sex with me, she drained all of my energy away, and I felt like I was even shorter. I felt like I was almost below 4 feet. And she even said to me that I was 4 feet 11, and I could feel her restricting my astral height. Also, when I was rising in frequency, these new personality types felt like they were consuming me. I'll feel like a king, and I will feel like I was a completely different person. And she also tried to take these away constantly, these feelings, and I could feel her taking these masks away from my face, almost like she was trying to take these personalities away from me. I hope this helps and serves as reasons for why the Greek gods are Archons and handlers of the Matrix. And I hope these examples of everything they've done to me also deters you from buying their statues, which can lead you to being vulnerable to being possessed and summoning them, as they attach themselves to statues. And I'm sorry for the way I speak in this video. It's just that when I start recording, my accent really gets really bad, and I struggle, and just find it hard to speak on a microphone. Please, everyone, stay safe out there and be careful and think before you do things, because you don't want to end up possessed. It's one of the worst things that can happen to you, and it will affect your future lives as well. mean your future incarnations. So just be careful out there, and Godspeed.